Reactions are pouring in over President Joe Biden's decision to not run for re-election.
But President Biden's decision to step aside has many GOP leaders calling for him to resign from office, arguing that he isn't fit to serve the rest of his term. Joining us now is Bobby Eberle, Fort Bend Republican Party chairman. Thanks so much for coming in this morning.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so what everyone is calling historic, monumental, earth-shattering, Biden stepping down and not running for re-election. Some of the Republican Party leaders say that's not enough. He still is serving till January and they want him to resign. Why?
Exactly. Well, you have a number of reasons. One, in the classified documents case that Robert Hur brought, they said that Biden wouldn't be prosecuted because basically he's too old and frail. He's a forgetful old man. So if he can't be prosecuted and he's stepping down from running for president because of mental deficiencies, then how can he be expected to execute the office of president, which is infinitely harder? Running a presidential campaign is hard, but being president is infinitely harder. And if they won't prosecute him because of mental deficiencies, if he won't run because of mental deficiencies, then certainly he can't execute the office of president. And that's what's going on right now, is that discussion. It's like, okay, you're going to pass the torch simply because the polls are bad. Keep in mind that the Democrats in the media for years now have tried to portray him as the most energetic, not just a guy that could do the job, but the most energetic, the most capable, lying to the American public all the time, covering up the fact that he can't handle the job. And they were planning to do this all the way up until Election Day, until the debate and the curtain was kind of pulled back. And you could see that this guy does not know what's going on, and now they're scrambling.
Okay, so we see that you think that he should not serve as president for the rest of the year. But what about going back to the campaign, just him stepping aside? Do you think that's fuel for the Democrats? I
think right now their Democrats are in disarray. I mean, I just got back from Milwaukee, Wisconsin as a delegate. And that convention, I've been to others, and this was so unifying. And then coming off the assassination attempt, I think the Democrats were trying to figure out, what do we do? What can we do to change the narrative, change the news cycle? And finally, it caught up with Biden. I mean, as late as this past Friday, his team was announcing that Biden's all in. He's going to be doing campaign stops. And then over the weekend, it was a full stop. And the reason is because finally they said that we're risking the House, we're risking the Senate, we're risking everything by Biden staying on the top of the ticket. And they finally, something had to give. And it looks like enough people pushed him out, basically.
Yeah, and so then what is the GOP strategy moving forward from here while the Democrats try to figure out who they're...
Well, right now, this is what I've been telling friends too, is to me, Biden and Harris are interchangeable. And the fact that they're rallying around Harris really doesn't change our strategy at all, because it's been Biden-Harris ticket, Biden-Harris administration, Biden-Harris policies from day one. And so when you talk about the border, when you talk about soaring energy and food costs, when you talk about foreign policy, manufacturing jobs, you can put Biden as the focus, or you could put Harris as the focus, and it really doesn't matter. So our strategy stays the same. She consistently polls below Biden, so it doesn't affect us one way or the other.
Do you think it will benefit Republicans that voters won't have a vote in picking the new nominee?
Well, I think it makes a great case, because the Democrats have always talked about that one of the things they'll campaign on, they won't campaign on those issues that I mentioned. They'll campaign on defending democracy. Well, here they just cleared the field for a guy that they knew was mentally deficient, and the Democrat voters only had one choice. And now they're going to take away the will of the voters and put someone else in by a small group of Democrat elites. That right there is undermining the democratic process, because Democrat primary voters have voted. They've made their voice known. And now, because again of bad polling, they're going to turn all of that around, throw it away, and say, hey, we're going to pick someone else.
Yeah, and just before you, I'm not sure if you saw, we had a delegate on who is in support, obviously Democratic, for Biden and Harris, now Harris, and basically was talking about down balloting. I mean, you know how this will be good for other state elections, that they'll vote for Harris and then they'll just vote for all the other Democrats. So do you think, though, that Republicans are going to have a problem getting the black vote if Harris is the Democratic nominee?
Well, I think former President Trump has done tremendous work in changing those numbers from Hispanics, from women, from blacks. You see that movement, and because, and it's simple. It's because of the comparison between the last 4 years and this 4 years. I mean, you do interviews off the street and you see, hey, I had more money in my pocket. I had a job, you know, food costs didn't cost me like what a rent payment is right now. And so they're voting their pocketbooks, they're voting stability. They saw how the country was pre-COVID, of course, that it was just a much better, safer, more economically viable country than we have now.
And do you see this affecting any Texas races?
No, I think Texas is energized right now. And I think, again, because Biden and Harris are so interchangeable, I really don't think it changes the dynamics. The Democrats will definitely try to spin this with Harris at the top of the ticket, but I think right now there's just been so much damage done that they're going to be playing catch up. Now, I don't want to get too optimistic because we've seen that before of so-called red waves, and then we pick up a seat or two or barely hold on to the House. So we're going to be working extremely hard for those down ballot races because we want the top of the ticket all the way down to tax assessor collector to win in November.
It'll be really interesting to see. We know we're going to hear from Kamala Harris later this morning at like 10:30. And I'm just interested sort of talking about inflation and prices are more at the grocery store.
Right.
I know that in the past, when President Biden spoke about that, it's almost as if it's like that's not really happening.
Right.
It's like that is happening. And so I'm wondering if that's him saying that, if that's the Democrat Party saying that. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's that administration. And that's why I don't think you're going to see anything different coming out of her than you saw out of Biden. Because, I mean, she was put in charge of the border. She was the border czar. And we have the worst border crisis that we've had in the history of the country with her at the helm. I mean, she was tasked with one of the main advocates of the Green New Deal, which kills manufacturing jobs in the Rust Belt, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, states the Democrats drastically need. I mean, that's imperative to win in the presidential race. So there's a lot happening, and it's an exciting time in the country for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Historic.
That's right, yes.
Bobby Eberle, we appreciate you coming into studio this morning.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
Thanks.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.